don't think it does at all.
No. Here's the reason why. He's retired, number one. Number two, he had already proved himself as a world champion, made a whole boatload of money, got $700 million in 2 fights, for crying out loud. He did all of that stuff. Then he retired, and he's announced that essentially these are exhibitions. He's just having fun with it because he's getting old. He's 45 years old now, and he did what he came to do.
But soon as someone black.
After getting fed up with the news and reports Stephen A. Smith has been making about him, Floyd Mayweather has now fired him warnings to desist from talking about him. Stephen A. Smith has been generating significant media attention around Floyd Mayweather recently, which has raised considerable awareness and eventually prompted federal agents to conduct further investigations into him.
They gotta point the finger at somebody. I mean, I think that it's just that when I talk about the numbers that I'm doing, I'm really doing. It's not like, you know how the young kids say now, capping, or we used to say fronting, so ain't no future in your fronting, but whatever I talk about is what I've done.
Pushing each other to be great instead of arguing on social media. They're just my opinion. And push each other in a positive way. And, I found myself in the past, the younger Floyd Mayweather, going back and forth on the internet with different people. But
Floyd was participating in a live virtual interview where he was asked about most of the allegations against him. He responded firmly, saying, "I don't want to hear my name in the mouths of no guys. When they see a black guy doing great, they try to put him down. I'm making this known to everyone that when I hear my name mentioned, I'm going to go out of my way."
As you get older,
Yep.
you have to look at things in a different way. Mm-hmm. My son this year is 26 years old. So in 4 years, my son will be 30. Then my daughter will be 29 in 4 years. So I have, grandchildren. So the same thing I was doing 10 years ago, I can't be doing now. Even 5 years ago, I can't be doing now. Mm-hmm. It's all about growth.
In particular, Mayweather called all the allegations against him false claims and advised his interviewers never to believe any of them. The first instance occurred when 50 Cent made a post on Instagram mentioning that Stephen A. Smith was making allegations of bankruptcy against Floyd Mayweather. This post drew significant attention to Mayweather, with several journalists and bloggers picking up the story and spreading various false claims. This media frenzy led to a surge of lawsuits filed against him, eventually catching the attention of federal agents who began their investigations. Mayweather insisted that Stephen A. Smith was the origin of the entire situation.
It's going to get a bit more serious about it. I've been approached by people on Capitol Hill. I've been approached by people who are elected officials in office, whether it's governors or mayors or what have you, and people have legitimately and seriously asked me about that. I have no desire to be a politician. My life is pretty well. But I've decided I'm no longer going to close that door. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to entertain them.
Of course, Floyd Mayweather did not conclude his statements without issuing a threat to ruin Stephen A. Smith's presidential ambitions if he continued making claims about him. He promised to expose hidden crimes and secret deals that Stephen A. Smith had been involved in. For Stephen A. Smith and the supporters of his presidential bid, there could not have been worse news than the allegations Floyd Mayweather is threatening to reveal after Smith announced his political ambitions.
For so long, I think it's normal, but when people go on social media, they post, when I post, they get mad. They're like, "Oh, you cocky, you arrogant." I'm just telling the truth.
Forever. Yeah. 100%. Did you get a little nervous asking a question?
Yeah.
I saw Al ask a question. He was like, taking a picture with him right now at the end. I was like, I'm going around.
According to the Black Information Network, the longtime ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith has now expressed openness to running for president in 2028. This announcement comes after he previously stated that politics was not for him. Recently, Stephen A. posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, saying, "Time to stop messing around. Life is great, especially at ESPN and Disney. Hate the thought of being a politician, but I'm sick of this mess, so I'm officially leaving all doors open." He also elaborated on the idea during a live interview at the NAB show in Las Vegas, where he mentioned being approached by people on Capitol Hill, as well as elected officials, including governors and mayors, who had seriously asked him to consider it. Although he admitted that he is not thrilled about becoming a politician, Stephen A. stated that if things in the country do not improve after the 2026 midterm elections, he would consider stepping up. While nothing is official yet, it is clear that he has taken the possibility more seriously than ever before.
Happy. At least I'm happy, but we're never happy. Well, we had Trump before. We didn't appreciate him, but I think Trump is a great president. Actually, he's the best president.
Just a few days after declaring his interest in running for president, Stephen A. Smith has allegedly been called a fraud and a liar. While many boxing fans understand where this criticism is coming from, it's not necessarily a genuine allegation. Rather, it seemed more as a retort to whatever Stephen A. Smith had previously said about Floyd Mayweather.
Life right now, I couldn't actually be in a better place. So, who Floyd Mayweather, when I used to go back and forth with people on social media, I don't do that anymore because I'm truly, truly blessed, way beyond belief. What's important to me right now is my real estate.
Floyd Mayweather is fully supportive of President Trump. The undefeated boxing champion, known for his outspoken personality and lucrative business ventures, made headlines after publicly endorsing Trump during a recent appearance on Fox Business's Making Money. The conversation initially focused on Mayweather's new $400 million real estate investment in New York City and the launch of his nutrition brand, 101.
We ever had a great businessman, and that's what it's about. Trump has done an amazing job, and a lot of people around America are upset. But no matter who goes in the White House, we're always upset. Right. And I think Trump is the man for the job. He's the best president in my eyes.
However, things took a political turn when Floyd Mayweather was asked about the state of the country under the new administration. Without hesitation, Mayweather praised Trump's leadership. During his appearance on Fox Business Network's Making Money with Charles Payne, Mayweather expressed, "Well, in America, we're never happy. At least I'm happy, but we're never happy. When we had Trump before, we didn't appreciate him. But I think Trump is a great president, one of the best presidents in my eyes. He's the best president we ever had."
My family, different things I'm involved with. It's all about helping kids.
The 48-year-old explained, great businessman, and that's what it's about. Trump has done an amazing job, and a lot of people around America are upset. But no matter who goes in the White House, we're always upset. His statement immediately sparked intense debate online. While some supporters applauded his endorsement, others criticized him for making such a sweeping declaration. Social media exploded with reactions as users dissected Mayweather's political stance and debated the impact of his words.
Ladies and gentlemen, chaos broke out. And I'm not talking about legit, bona fide boxing, pure boxing chaos. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that's just embarrassing. Look at this here.
To address Floyd Mayweather's hints that he was going to reveal some hidden crimes committed by Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith appeared on the news to deny any rumors linking him to any criminal activity at any point in his career. He firmly stated that there are certain situations you would never, ever find him in. He quickly tied this denial to the ongoing controversy surrounding his co-host and friend, Shannon Sharpe, who was recently hit with a lawsuit by a young woman in her early 20s. Stephen A. Smith initially spoke about this assault lawsuit involving his First Take co-host on his self-titled YouTube show earlier this week. He made it clear that while he was not avoiding conversation, he also has no control over Sharpe's career at ESPN and Disney.
He didn't appreciate that. And he was so pissed off we went without talking. And it got to a point where a couple of my colleagues pulled me to the side and said, "Yo, man, you the beat writer for the 76ers.
He said, "I recruited Shannon, but I'm not the boss." Smith explained that Disney co-chairman Jimmy Pitaro had spoken with him, adding, "I can tell you I also spoke to the co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear that ESPN is taking this matter very seriously, and we are looking into this very, very closely. Once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there." Smith clarified that this was all he had been told and that he could mention Pitaro's name because he had received permission to do so. "I don't know what that means," Smith concluded.
About practice. He didn't care about that. Believe it or not, he didn't care about that. He got mad because I said that, he taking liberties, he's AI, but he's milking every single damn liberty.
I have no idea what direction ESPN and Disney will go in when it comes to this matter, Stephen A. Smith said. All I do know is I won't be making a decision. It will be others upstairs. In the end, all of us have someone to answer to, no matter how maverick we try to be. And we own our own business. They're our bosses. That's the situation that, unfortunately, Shannon Sharpe finds himself in at this particular moment in time. Stephen A. Smith then went on to respond to Floyd Mayweather, explaining why he has never been caught in a scandal like his ESPN co-host Shannon Sharpe.
I've had no choice but to get a bit more serious about it. I've been approached by people on Capitol Hill. I've been approached by people who are elected officials in office, whether it's governors or mayors or what have you, and people have legitimately and seriously asked me about that. I have no desire to be a politician. My life is pretty well, but I've decided I'm no longer going to close that door. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to entertain the...
On a recent episode of his self-titled YouTube show, The Stephen A. Smith Show, Smith said, one of the things that we need to remind ourselves of is that in this day and age, very few things are private. In this day and age, there are very few things that won't come to light, because most things do. But thinking beyond Shannon and myself, just thinking about the world that we live in terms of the podcast stratosphere and everything like that, a lot of people want to walk around thinking you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You could own your own operation, and you don't have to answer to anybody. That's not true.
If it comes in 2020, late 2026, 2027, where I look at this country and I think it's an absolute mess, and there's legitimate reason to believe, whether it's via exploratory committees or anything else, that I indeed would have a legitimate shot to win the presidency.
Smith continued to reveal the questions he often gets asked about not facing scandals. He said, I've had people open their mouths and they've said, Stephen A., you work for ESPN. What kind of control do you really have? This is my podcast. This is my YouTube show. I own this. But if you think for 1 second that I can just do what I want to do, when I want to do it and how I want to do it, and there's not going to be any repercussions, you're clueless and you're destined to fail and fall on your face. I'm not talking about Shannon Sharpe. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm talking about the climate that we're living in. Some people sit up there, look at me, and they say, Stephen A., don't get himself in this kind of trouble. How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there are certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about me engaging in.
Did you and Floyd get into a fight or a shoving match before?
Yeah, yeah.
Who won that?
I won every time.
Every time?
No. Now we had twice. We got to it.
Like a real altercation?
Yeah, like one was with the...
Did he put that shoulder back on you?
Nah. It's more like out of respect.
He continued to explain that working for a larger company means he has someone to answer to. He said, but more importantly than that, I often say this about Walt Disney. I'd rather work for a place with standards than one looking for them. You know why? Because lines are drawn, and I never have to worry about crossing them. Because guess what? I've got something there reminding me. Hold on, you don't need to do that. It's not a silo, I'm not by myself. I don't get to operate in any way that I want without having to worry about ramifications and repercussions. I always have to be concerned about that. Interview 16. He continued. So I'm challenged every day to come on the airwaves and think about the ramifications and repercussions of anything that I do constantly. And because of that, that's an additional guardrail to secure me from putting myself in a position that could jeopardize myself, my show, my brand, my family, the company that I work for, and anything like that. Stephen A. Smith went on to clarify that his message was not about Shannon Sharpe. He stated, again, I'm not talking about Shannon right now. I'm talking about what people say when it comes to people like myself and others who unapologetically explain that we have people to answer to. He added, and all you folks out there with your own podcasts, running your own operations, if you have advertisers and sponsors, guess what? You answer to somebody too. And I'm here to tell you, don't be upset about it. Feel good about it, because you need to view it as an extra line of security, that guardrail. It enables you to watch lines that you want to make sure you don't cross.
Because you're already invested.
Right, like when you get half the money back. But I ain't trying to press him because he just got out of jail. Right. So it's like, let him pull his heels before you.
Was that in the millions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's sitting there big, and I'm like, yo, so when... But see, the fighters are an asset in themselves. They are that talent, regardless.
So I'm looking at him going.
Interestingly, Floyd Mayweather isn't considering any of the things Stephen A. Smith has said. He is bent on revealing secret details about the ESPN personality if he ever mentions his name on air again. Mayweather's claims remain that Stephen A. Smith was the reason behind every subsequent event that followed the controversy. He points out that Smith was a name on 50 Cent's social media post. And if Smith had never said anything, his famous enemy 50 Cent would have never had anything to say. Here's the wild part. 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather weren't always enemies. In fact, they used to be close friends, jet setting together, planning business ventures, and living a ride or die kind of